Hey everybody, what's up? Hope you guys are doing good today. Man, it's a really nasty day here in Missouri, sort of spitting snow, windy, cold, and out here in the tackle room. I'm going to finish up our series on lipless crankbaits today, primarily talking about a lot of the pre-spawn applications. And this is the third in the series of the pre-spawn lipless crank tips and seminars. If you missed the first two, you can go back and look at some of my previous videos the last couple of days. I did one on the 3/4 ounce and 1 ounce size, and then did one a couple of days ago on the silent models. And today I sort of want to go through an overview of sizes and colors. Basically when I use different sizes, when I use different colors, and sort of give you a breakdown of that to sort of, maybe help build a foundation around it a little bit more, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about lipless crankbaits. Lipless crankbaits, there's a lot to them. There's a lot of variables to them. Color has a big part of it, like they do in a lot of different lures. Also, size has a lot to do. Most of the ones we use are between 1/4 ounce and 1 ounce, and I use all of them. I use all different variations, and I also use a lot of different models. I mean, everybody knows that watches my channel that I've been with Megabass for years, and they make a great lipless crankbait, the Vibration X line. It's changed, it's been modified over several years, but that is my favorite lipless crankbait, is that Vibration X model. But I also, you guys watch me, I don't BS on this channel, so I use other models too. And I want to talk about that a little bit more, because lipless crankbaits, it's one of those baits that there's very few people that only use one brand of lipless crankbaits. And the reason that is because the profile and the sound that different models have work better under different situations. Certain lipless crankbaits simply sound different in the water than others, and the profile looks different. Sometimes the bass prefer different profiles over the others, so we're going to get into that a little bit. First of all, what I want to talk about before we get into everything is the lure that caught the biggest 5-fish limit that I've ever caught in my life. And I did a video a couple weeks ago. I briefly touched on it, and so I'm not going to go into big detail, but the biggest 5-fish limit that I've ever caught was in practice at Lake Murray several years ago. I had 7 bites that day. I caught 6 of them on the Vibration X. This is the exact bait. This is one that I modified. Basically what I did on this is I scraped the sides, I scraped the paint off on it towards clear on the side, because the water clarity at Lake Murray that particular day, it was fairly clean, and I wanted something that basically stood out a little bit yet was subtle, and I couldn't really find anything that matched that. So I went to this one, and I wound up catching 6 of those big ones on this one, on the Vibration X, and I caught 1 of the big ones on a Yozuri Rattling Vibe, chrome and blue. That was right off the bat in the morning before the sun came up a little bit. But this is the one, this is the bait, Megabass Vibration X. This is the biggest 5-fish limit that I've ever caught in my entire life came on this bait here. In the pre-spawn, lipless crankbaits will catch giants. I mean, they will. There's, all those grass lakes that you guys hear about, TVA lakes, Florida, Texas, whatever like that. There's always 10-pounders caught in the pre-spawn on it. So the question remains, what determines the color and the size that you need to use? A lot of it has to do with the type of lake you're fishing. If you're fishing a lake that is known for big fish, in the pre-spawn, that's when I'm using, like the bigger ones, the 1 ounce models, the 3/4 ounce. Particularly if I'm fishing areas that I need to get down into that 4 to 8 foot zone. A bigger lipless crankbait simply works a little bit better than the smaller versions. If I'm just doing my workhorse, my typical workhorse lipless crankbait fishing, which is secondary points, maybe fishing them in the backs of pockets, that type of stuff, around some shallow targets, maybe shallow grass, flats, that type of stuff. Areas basically where I'm fishing less than 5 feet deep and under normal conditions, that's when I go to just a 1/2 ounce model. This is a red eye shad here. any 1/2 ounce model, type of lipless crankbait is one of my favorites there. And if I'm fishing areas that don't really they're not really known for big fish, even though they can have big fish in them. But if I'm fishing really skinny water in the pre-spawn, like for example, in the say the water temperature's in the mid-50s, and I'm fishing a lake that has a lot of like shallow flat banks and flat coves, and the fish are starting to move in the back of those flatter coves, that's when I like to go to like a little 1/4 ounce one. This is the 3/4 ounce Vibration X to the next of it, 1/4 ounce rattle trap to the left. So this little 1/4 ounce model, if you're fishing shallow water, like in that 2 to 4 foot zone, really any time of the year, but that the places where you don't want, they're small tight places where you don't want a bait to overwhelm the area that you're fishing, like the back of cuts, little bitty nooks, stuff like that, tight areas. You want the smaller profile, and that's when I go to the 1/4 ounce. So a lot of that it's a combination of the type of lake you're fishing, the depth that you're fishing, the specific type of cover that you're fishing, all that, factors into the size that you're using. One of the things that you can mix and match those a little bit is if you're fishing a grass lake, and say you start out with like a 3/4, and you're catching some fish and then it dies off. A lot of times you can downsize to the 1/2 ounce or the 1/4 ounce and maximize those grass areas a little bit more, particularly on the 1/4 ounce size. If you're fishing a lot of the grass areas, like say in Florida, that get a lot of fishing pressure, a lot of times you can go to 10 to 12 pound test line into a 1/4 ounce model and pick up a lot more fish than everybody else. Now, color aspects, let's talk about color a little bit. Color is totally dependent on 3 things, in my opinion. It's dependent upon the water clarity, it's dependent upon, the time of day and the time of year that you're fishing. And there's some other variables that go with that too, like sky conditions, wind, that type of stuff. But normally what I like to do is one of my favorite colors starting out first thing in the morning, like when the light level's low, it's not real bright out. Even if the water's clear, doesn't really matter the water clarity, is I really like a Fire Tiger, like this Megabass Vibration X. This Fire Tiger on cloudy days, windy days, rainy days, early in the morning, it's really a good color. And one of the things you'll find out about the Fire Tiger is that if you can get them to bite a Fire Tiger color, it's normally the biggest fish in the group will hit a Fire Tiger. It doesn't get fished a lot, but it's one of my favorite colors. If I'm fishing any type of water that has some type of a tannic color to it, a tannic like the darker black waters in Florida or around grass, that type of stuff, my favorite is gold. This is the Gold Vibration X. In the pre-spawn, this is my go-to color if I'm fishing around any type of grass or any type of tannic water, which is what I fish around a lipless crankbait a lot in the pre-spawn. This gold is awesome. I've caught so many good fish on this thing. It'll work in sunny conditions, it'll work in cloudy conditions, windy, calm, whatever. It's just a really, really good color under those conditions. Now, if I'm fishing up north a lot, or a lake that has a lot of smallmouth in it, one of the sort of the niche colors that I found out is a perch color. This is a rattling vibe. This is actually a custom colored paint job I had done. That I catch a lot of smallmouth on the perch pattern, or any lake, where they're feeding on perch. Really good color early in the year. Fish can confuse it for a crawfish too, but it really works good under a lot of conditions early in the year. If I'm fishing dirty water, and I don't fish dirty water lipless crankbaits much, but when I'm fishing water visibilities, like between 1.5 feet and 3 foot of visibility, one of the patterns I like really good is like a bleeding shiner, like some type of a solid finish, non-shiny, flat finish, just some type of a shad pattern like that. Under those conditions, when you have water visibilities less than 3 feet, shad pattern works really good. You can't overlook the red. Anytime you're fishing pre-spawn in the red's going to be a really good color. It doesn't matter, if you're fishing grass, if you're fishing rocks, if you're fishing points, whatever. When that water temperature is between say 50 to 55 degrees, there's always going to be a bite going on with the red color like that. Now you can catch them on a lot of different colors. A lot of times I'll mix it up. Sometimes I'll have, if I'm on a strong lipless crankbait bite, I may have 3 or 4 different colors out on the boat. But the red is pretty much strictly a pre-spawn color. Works in a lot of different water visibilities, a lot of different water colors. Really good go-to bait. And the other two, the final two that I'm going to talk about, which is one that doesn't get fished a lot, is the Bluegill Pattern. Again, the Megabass Vibration X model. The Bluegill Pattern has been a really killer for me. And one of the top ways that I like to fish a Bluegill Pattern in a lot of different water clarities is I love to yo-yo the Bluegill Pattern. If I'm fishing isolated grass flats, if I'm fishing long sloping points, in the pre-spawn, for some reason I can throw this Bluegill Pattern out there, let it hit to the bottom, and just sweep it up like a spoon a little bit. And I've done extremely well on the Bluegill Pattern under those conditions. And finally, I'm going to go back to the one that caught the biggest bass for me ever, is the clear-sided lipless crankbait. Again, the Megabass Vibration X. One of the big tips that I can give you, and one of the big secrets I can share with you that I do not like sharing, but again, that's what this series is all about, is sharing tips and secrets, is if you're fishing a situation where you have bright bluebird skies, not much wind, water visibilities between 2 to 5 feet, clear conditions, take a knife and just scrape. I don't care if you're using a red eye shad, if you're using a Vibration X, if you're using a rattle trap, it doesn't make any difference. Take a knife, scrape all the paint off of it down to clear. Just give that a try, because this is a solid tip that I'm giving you right here. And I can promise you, under those conditions, when the fish are just not real aggressive and they want something a little bit more subtle, they will hit this clear-sided lipless crankbait. So anyway, that's sort of my tips on it, on the lipless crankbaits. One of my favorite ways to catch big ones this time of year. Just give it a try this year. Once that water temperature starts hitting 50 degrees in the part of the country that you're at, and up until it starts to get like into the 57, 58 degrees, there's a window between, it's like 50 degrees to 57, 58 when they really bite these baits good. Mix it up. Like I said, go back and look at some of the other videos I shot. There's a lot of diversity to this. There's a lot of size diversity, profile, color, that type of stuff. You just sort of have to mix and match it to the body of water that you're fishing, around your part of the country. But like I said, give it a try. One of the best techniques, one of the best baits out there to catch huge bass. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't. Looked at my analytics the other day, and I think I've got almost 60% of the people that watch the videos that I'm putting out are not subscribed to the channel. So guys, please just hit that subscribe button. It really helps out big time. It'd be much appreciated if you could do that. So we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to continue the series with lure categories. I'll think about it tonight, what I want to talk about tomorrow, and we'll start a new category tomorrow. So thanks again. See y'all later.